You've seen him as the villain, the dark voice, the man who could command fear with just his presence. But what if I told you, his real life was far more intense than any role he ever played? Christopher Lee was born on May 27, 1922, in London. From the outside, his life seemed refined. He came from a respected family, educated, well-spoken. But his journey didn't follow a simple path. When World War II began, everything changed. Before he ever became an actor, Christopher Lee lived a life that most people only see in movies. He joined the war effort and served in intelligence roles. The details of his missions were so sensitive that even later in life, he rarely spoke about them. But one thing is certain, he witnessed things that shaped him deeply. Danger. Loss. Reality. This wasn't acting. This was real. After the war ended, he didn't immediately become a star. Like many others, he struggled. He wanted to act, but the industry didn't open its doors easily. He was told he was too tall, his voice was too deep, his look was too unusual. But instead of changing himself, he leaned into it. And that changed everything. Christopher Lee began taking roles that others wouldn't. Dark characters. Villains. Mysterious figures. Slowly, he built a reputation, not just as an actor, but as a presence. Then came Dracula. His portrayal of Count Dracula turned him into a legend. He didn't just act the role, he redefined it. Cold, intense, unforgettable. The kind of performance that stays with you long after the screen goes dark. But being typecast as a villain came with a cost. For years, he struggled to break out of that image. The same thing that made him famous also limited him. Yet he didn't stop. He kept working, kept evolving, kept proving that he was more than just one type of character. And eventually, the world saw it. Later in his career, Christopher Lee reached an entirely new generation. Roles like Saruman in The Lord of the Rings and Count Dooku in Star Wars introduced him to millions who had never seen his earlier work. And once again, he became iconic. But here's what most people don't realize. Behind that powerful voice and commanding presence, was a man who valued discipline, knowledge, and quiet strength. He spoke multiple languages, had a deep interest in history, and carried himself with a rare kind of dignity. Even in his later years, he didn't slow down. Most people retire. He kept going. Acting. Recording music. Yes, music. In his 80s and even 90s, Christopher Lee released heavy metal albums. Not for attention, but because he loved it. Because he believed life should be lived fully, no matter your age. That's who he was. Not just an actor. A force. On June 7, 2015, Christopher Lee passed away at the age of 93. The world didn't just lose a villain. It lost a legend. But his story isn't about darkness. It's about depth. A man who lived through war, faced rejection, built a career from what made him different, and kept evolving until his final days. And maybe that's why his presence still feels so powerful. Because some people don't just act in legendary stories. They live them.